Hi, folks. We're back for Chapter 5 of Nick and Tesla's Special Effects Spectacular. It was really funny for the last assignment, well, 2 days ago for Chapter 3, when I was reading your verbal responses, that everyone was having trouble with the last name. Made me feel a little bit better because that last name was kicking my butt a little bit. But it was funny to see everyone was having that same problem. But we're going to hop into Chapter 5. I'm going to read it, and then I'll give you your assignment after we're done. Like always, have the book up on getepic.com and this playing in the background to help you with words you don't understand. I'm going to minimize my face and begin reading. Nick, Silas, and DeMarco looked at one another. They were standing on a movie set watching a scene being filmed, and they really didn't want to get thrown off because they had freaked out and ran in front of the camera. On the other hand, they couldn't imagine a Metal Man movie in which the hero is supposed to confront a bunch of zombies and said, ooh, hey, and then have a seizure. And even if that was the way the scene was supposed to go, Tesla had already ruined it by running to Damon Wilder's side. On the other hand, none of the dozen adults standing around were moving in to check on the quivering actor, which suggests that this shaking fit was in the script. On the other hand, well, come on, Tessa called back over her shoulder, and with that, all the boys sprinted after her. DeMarco, what are you doing? Aunt Zoe called out. I have no idea, DeMarco said. When the boys caught up to Tesla, she was kneeling beside the writhing, thrashing, costume-covered man, her hands holding on to his gleaming metal helmet. So what are we doing? Silas asked. I think there's something wrong with his armor, Tesla said, tugging on the helmet. Get it off me! Get it off me, Wilder screamed. Help me take it off him, Tesla said. My skin, my skin! Wilder was screeching now. Nick took hold of the helmet and started tugging along with Tesla, while Silas grabbed one of Wilder's boots and DeMarco grabbed the other. Man, this stuff is on tight, Silas groused as he yanked fruitlessly on the boot. It's like he's willed it into it. Ow, hey, don't pull my foot off, Wilder howled. Sorry, Silas said. Wilder went back to shrieking about his skin. Why aren't the grown-ups helping? DeMarco asked. Indeed, the crew members and zomboids and everyone else were still standing around staring. Then Aunt Zoe and Cash Ashkinos started walking toward them slowly, cautiously. Is this improv? Ashkinos asked. I'm starting to think there's really something wrong with him. I don't know, Aunt Zoe said. She sounded concerned. It could be more method. No, this isn't acting, Wilder wailed. Even I'm not this good. Ah! And the prop man dashed up next to Silas and helped him yank off one of Metal Man's shiny boots. It tore loose with the sound of crumpling metal and ripping fabric. Watch it with the suit, the prop guy said. That thing cost $100,000. It's like I'm on fire, Wilder cried. On fire! Cassiusquino sighed. He didn't look scared or worried, just annoyed. $100,000 is cheap compared to Wilder, he said. Get the suit off him as fast as you can, Matt. You're the boss. Matt, aka the prop guy, waved back Silas and the other kids. Then he moved to Wilder's head and grasped the helmet. He pulled and twisted. It looked like he was taking Wilder's head off, and it sounded like that too, from the way the actor yelped. But a moment later, the helmet came free, and Wilder's head remained attached to his neck. Wilder stared up at the man, wide-eyed, red-faced, and sweaty. It's not my head that's the problem. It's my shoulders, and my back, and my butt. Ah! Matt looked up at Ashkinos. Do it, Ashkinos said. Matt began tearing apart the Metal Man armor. I think somebody put something in the costume, Tessa said to Aunt Zoe. You should probably get him into a shower when he's finally freed. Aunt Zoe gave her a quizzical look. She started to reply, but a loud, oh my, cut her off. There were several other gasps, a few chortles, and even a low whistle, all coming from the various crew members. PAs, security guards, and various personnel who gathered around the scene. Matt was almost done ripping the Metal Man suit off the actor. And Wilder, it turned out, was wearing nothing under his costume but a pair of skimpy cotton underwear known far and wide as tidy whities. Suddenly, a pair of PAs came swooping in to help Wilder stand, wrapping him in a rope, which wasn't easy since Wilder kept scratching wildly at himself. Nick turned to say something to Tesla, but found his sister trying to see over the crowd, craning to get a peek at Wilder. What? She said, when she noticed her brother was looking at her. I wanted to see if he had burns or a rash. Did he? Tessa shook her head. Just some scrapes. It was too late for Nick to steal a peek of his own. What happened? Ashkinos asked his star. I don't know, Wilder said, still scratching. 1 second I was hitting my mark, ready to say my lines, and the next my skin was on fire. It's not as bad now that I'm out of that tin can. Well, I think you'd better go to your trailer, Anzo said. She threw a quick glance at Tesla, and a shower seems like a good idea. And some rest, Ashkinos added. He slapped Wilder on the back. Wilder winced. Take whatever time you need, Damon, he said. Fine, Wilder said miserably as he left, but I'll be back, Cash. I can do this scene. Sure you can, Damon, Ashkinos said. As soon as the actor limped out of earshot, Ashkinos clapped his hands together and rubbed them gleefully. Alrighty then, we're back to CGI Metal Man. Cash, Matt said, holding up the tatters of the Metal Man suit. It's total. There's only one good one left now. We'll blow up that bridge when we come to it. All right, people, let's get ready to run it again. On the director's orders, crew members began hustling to and fro, and the zombies turned and shuffled back into the movie theater. Excuse me, Tesla said to Matt, the prop guy, who had started walking away with the ruined costume. May I take a look at that? Matt peered at her from behind his squat, squared framed eyeglasses. Just who are you anyway? A guest of Zoe Hams, DeMarco said. Isn't that right, Aunt Zoe? Aunt Zoe hesitated only for a moment before saying yes. At that moment, Cassius Kinos walked up and stood next to Aunt Zoe. I never got a chance to officially meet your guest. That was some impressive reaction time, you guys. Damon was lucky you were so quick to jump in and help him. Otherwise, he might still be lying there, itching like crazy. For a second, it seemed like Ashkinos was imagining that very scenario, smiling at the idea. But then he quickly held out his arms to shake hands with each of the kids. Silas was last. You may as well let her take a look at the armor, Matt, Zoe said. It's not like she could ruin the suit any more than it already is. That's some grip, Ashkinos was saying to Silas, who was still pumping the director's hand furiously, an idiotic grin plastered on his face. He seemed unwilling to let go. Matt sighed and then motioned for Tesla to approach, adding in a resigned tone, Fine, have at it, kid. Tesla walked over and began examining the blue and silver armor, especially the black nylon holding it all together. Nick joined her, then DeMarco. Meanwhile, Cash Ashkinos was still trying to pull away from Silas's grip. If you will excuse me, Cash said, I have to direct. And with the final yank, he pulled his hands free. For a moment or two, Silas continued to shake an invisible hand in the empty air. I eagle camera good, he stammered. Silas. Okay then, Cash said. I'm going over there. Nice. I'm going over there now. Nice to meet you, Simon. Meanwhile, Aunt Zoe had joined Tesla and the others, gathered around the pile of Metal Man armor. See anything? Aunt Zoe asked. Not yet, but aha! Repeated Aunt Zoe. That usually means she found something, DeMarco explained. Yes, I guessed as much, Aunt Zoe said. But what? Tesla pointed at the costume. That. Everyone, even Matt the prop guy, leaned in for a closer look. There was a group thunk, and then everyone leaned out again, rubbing their foreheads. Let's try that one at a time, Aunt Zoe said. One by one, Aunt Zoe, then Matt, then the boys peered into the costume. And one by one, they saw a long streak of granular orange-brown particles ground into the nylon. That's on the inside of the costume, right? Tesla asked Matt. He nodded. Sure, up around here. He touched the back of his neck and shoulders. Tesla and Nick looked at each other. Looks like you're not the only one who knows about words censored by the publisher's legal department, said Nick. Words censored by the publisher's legal department, said Aunt Zoe. What's that? The main ingredient in itching powder, Nick explained. Matt scoffed. Itching powder? That's just some dumb old gag in old comic books. Nick and Tesla shook their heads grimly. It isn't, DeMarco said. No, it's real, said Nick. It's nasty stuff, too. It has to be pretty mean to make up a batch and use it on somebody. He gave his sister a significant look. It was just once, okay, she blurted out. And the kid was the worst lab partner in the history of the universe. Tesla's admission was followed by a moment of awkward silence. Anyway, Aunt Zoe said, does the itching powder work immediately? It's instantaneous, Nick said. Tesla rubbed her chin and narrowed her eyes, which means, but she was unable to finish her thought. Where's my star? My boy, my dear, dear friend, a voice suddenly welled behind her. Is he all right? Sweet Lord in heaven, tell me he's all right. All right, so that's our chapter 5. I'm going to be creating a quiz that you're going to do here on Get Epic. So good luck. It's going to be 5 questions, and that's it. No secret phrase or anything for today, but good luck with the quiz that will be assigned right after reading.